Hello and welcome to Hello Sisters TV, your talk show for all things God, empowerment, love and light. I'm joined today with one of my sisters, Miss Roslyn Quaidoo. Fasten your seatbelts as you're definitely in for a ride on this episode.
Roslyn Quaidoo, soon to be Mrs. Roslyn Adonteng.
Thank God.
We praise the Lord.
Hallelujah. Hey.
So yeah, this is my hype man. She's always bubbling with me. If I need hype, Roslyn's my girl, innit? She's got that energy.
All
energy.
right.
And it makes sense because she's also a singer as well. So very talented. Hopefully we'll get to hear some little snippets of that amazing voice she has. So yeah, we had to get Roslyn on the show, and she's obviously brought a little bit of glamour because she's very glamorous. Another thing I love about her, so it makes me sort of have to step it up as well, you know. So I hope you're feeling the jacket. Anyway,
Yes, it's very classy.
Thanks, sis. We want to know more about Roslyn. Like I said, she is engaged.
He put a ring on it.
Yeah.
He put a ring on it, honey.
He put a ring.
Bling bling.
Money ain't a thing.
And I got Colgate.
Where did you get that one from? I'm taking it. Live.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, she's come a long way.
Oh gosh.
A long way by God's grace. This man is amazing. I've met him. I know him. He's my bro. Michael Adonteng. I mean, anyways, let me not even. I'll let you. I was like, "Raw, wait, hold on, hey. It's not my man. It's her man." We'll let her tell us more.
Okay.
But before we start on the whole engagement and the whole courting, dating, celibacy, no sex, before we get into all of that, let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Let's start, where did it all start? Because, you know, you are, I'm telling you guys, she's a virtuous woman by the grace of God. She's,
Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord.
She's a disciple of Christ. She's a servant of Christ. She serves in the church, and she's obviously, she's got a testimony like all of us, right? We all started off somewhere and we're here today. So we just want to go into that story.
Okay.
Keep it real. Let us know for those out there, you know, who don't know you. So where did it start?
So I gave my life to Christ in the year 2013. I'll probably say it was when I was just about to finish off at university.
Right.
Going through, like, you know, the hard times of uni, the raving started to calm down, and the tension was on. But it was a matter of urgency where I needed help, and my family couldn't give me that help. My friends couldn't give me that help because everyone was just about doing their business. You know, final year, some of my friends had actually graduated previously before because I started uni quite late.
Yeah.
So it was just a thing where I just thought, like, I need something. I need something that's going to fulfill me. I need to get through this last hurdle.
Right. Because,
you know, the way they portray university is like, you know, you've got to finish and come out with the best of grades in order for you to succeed further on in life.
Yeah.
So I'll probably say at that time I was coming to church. At the same time I was still up in the world, you know. I wouldn't say partying as much, but drinking a lot, smoking a lot of weed, smoking a lot of cigarettes at the time. But I started to build my relationship up, and it's only because of the fact that I had a sister like Raquel that had already started, Raquel and Sade. So, you know, one day Raquel was like, look, we're gonna go to my church, to the service, and I'm like, yo, cuz, well, I can't for you though. I thought we were going to a party, so we were going to church. Anyway, so we started off at Action Chapel, and it's been a blessing ever since. It's been it's a fantastic ministry, and yeah, I'm so grateful for God. I'm so grateful for my sisters as well, because without them, I do feel that, you know, you can make the journey by yourself and accept the salvation and the blood of Jesus, but at the same time you do need that kind of physical help, physical assistance. You can't do it solely by yourself. Like, you will need to be accountable to somebody.
Right.
And I had someone like my peers to be accountable for. So I thank God highly for my sisters every day. Love you guys.
We love you too, girlfriend. Okay, so you mentioned you were in your final year of uni, so the pressure is on.
Yeah.
You've got exams.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that would have...
Yeah, at the time I was in a relationship for about 7 years, on and off. And, you know, the guy satisfied me in certain ways. So, for example, we would have sex, and that's satisfying, but it was never enough.
Right.
There was always something missing.
Right.
Or, you know, for example, I just felt like I was a woman of character and, you know, going places, and I felt, no offense, I dropped a level in the sense that it was rather, instead of pulling me forward, I was rather being pulled back.
Interesting.
And rather than me, you know, consulting God now that I know that, I was rather looking down upon him and saying, oh, why don't you do this and why don't you do this, and being one of the girls where I was always drawing a comparison, and even to the point when I even gave my life to Christ, I was still in that relationship and still questioning myself as to why I was pulling myself or going backwards in life rather than going forward. I never saw myself progressing. I always saw myself sliding back, and I never understood as to why. And at the time I was just asking a lot of questions about myself. Like, I was doing a lot of self-reflecting, like, you know, I'm about to graduate now, you know, I'm not might not come up with the best of grades, but what am I actually intending to do long term in my life? I didn't have much confidence in myself as well. So it's like I always relied on the man to give me that confidence, and he couldn't give me that. So yeah, he couldn't fulfill my whole desires, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So could I summarize it by saying the time you came to God, it was a time of pressure.
Yeah.
Last year of uni.
Yeah.
It was a time of self-reflection.
Yeah.
You were questioning the relationship you were in.
Yeah.
You were questioning also your self, your identity, maybe the confidence, because you said confidence.
Yes. Yeah.
You'd always looked for it in a guy, and all these questions were creating a desire in you to get an answer. Yeah. And so that's what led you to God.
Yes, correct.
Right.
And rather than me dealing with the matter, I would find that drink would help me deal with the matter, or it could be, again, sex, or it was smoking weed or smoking cigarettes. But that wasn't enough. It was cool at the time, but there was something out there that I just couldn't find. So yeah.
I can definitely relate. When I made the decision to step out of the world and everything that I'd known, the drinking, the clubbing, sex, before marriage.
Hey!
Yeah.
Hey,
I was questioning. I was really, really questioning life. I was questioning. I just had a desire that there must be more. I had an emptiness. Yeah. There was a vacuum. Something needed to be filled, because all of these things, men, drink, the good times, what was considered fun, clubbing and just doing all sorts, it was no longer fulfilling me. It was no longer satisfying. I don't know. I think we were just growing out of it. We just felt like you just have this feeling like there must be something more. There must be more meaning behind life. There must be more reason to me being put on earth. So it's interesting, because that's a theme that I think runs throughout all the girls when you're ready to sort of make that decision to come to God. You are at a place of either like a failed relationship, or there's so much, you know, going on around you can't keep up, or there's this questioning within yourself about you and your identity and things like that. But you touched on the whole confidence thing. Where do you think that came from, that not really believing in yourself or having confidence in yourself?
I would say that I came from I'm from an African background. Yeah. My background is Ghanaian.
Yeah. Like me, obviously, family, don't know. Ghana.
How we roll.
She gets swagger. She be sweet like banana. She may come from Ghana. She's a diva.
So the confidence, I think it stemmed from there. I came from a home where we weren't physically broken, but it was a broken home.
Right.
So it was hard for me to... I did come out of my shell, but it was hard for me to always come out of my shell and know what to pursue who I actually wanted. The moment I would say, for example, I wanted to become a doctor, it wasn't something where that was nurtured, it was something where it was put down. Or for example, if I was saying something and it was incorrect, it wasn't something where I was being corrected in love, it was something I would be corrected in chastisement, if that makes sense.
Right.
So that just carried on from puberty to teenage and rather than it being corrected, it was always put down and hidden under the carpet. So I would just spring myself back up again and think, oh yeah, no, I can do this. But then, words are seeds that you sow into people. So eventually, as time was going on and I was growing up, those seeds, rather than being, it was like bitter seeds. So the grounding wasn't well placed. So I wasn't able to be uprooted or, shine bright because of the fact that it was built on just not a solid ground, if that makes sense.
So it basically started in the home.
Yes, started from the home,
Right.
And it was quite hard because, you see, for example, like I said, I started uni quite late. I saw all my friends progressing and I was just always wondering to myself, what am I purpose for? What am I destined to become? Or, because I didn't really believe in myself, so I couldn't really believe in anything that I was meant to do. I doubted a lot in my mind. I made a lot of pre-assumption in my mind that there was nothing I could do. Anything I put my hands to do, I was unable to do it. But by the grace of God, that is over now.
Amen.
You
see how this girl is soaring and flying in all pursuits in her life.
Amen.
It's just it's amazing to see. But even the girl you speak about, I don't recognize her.
Oh wow!
It's crazy. That was the old Roslyn. She didn't have much confidence. You could put on the confidence was there. And we're good at that. I must admit, something I'm very good at as well. And I think women we can be quite good at just putting on a facade as if we got it all together. Blah blah blah. But there's a lot of brokenness, and that can only be healed or restored by God. But as she was saying, it came from her household, the type of household she came from. And a lot of African households, will be able, I'm sure, to relate to that in terms of sometimes you can have parents who have ideas about the way they want their child to be. It may not even be specific to an African household, to be fair. I think there are just, I think it's, obviously we come from an African household, so that's what we know. But if somebody was to tell me, oh yes, like this in this culture, I probably wouldn't be surprised. But you have parents who have these ideas for their kids, and when they don't see the kid being molded into that vision they have for them, anything else they sort of put down. They don't nurture, they don't encourage, and as Roslyn said, they form bad seeds, which Roslyn was sort of brushing aside, not really taking, you're quite good in that respect, not allowing it to, I guess, take hold. And she would always be up for trying new things and doing new things, but after a few failures, you start to think, what's going on here? And then those seeds that were there all those years, they really, you notice that they have taken hold, even though you've tried to brush them sort of under the carpet.
Just to add to that as well, so although I had come to church, it was still early days, so I did still see myself falling back into the world. So for example, I would use maybe sex to cover that. It was like sex was giving me the feed, or weed was giving me the feed in order for me to feel like, what, I can actually do what I want to do. But rather than really and truly, it wasn't doing that. It was more just taking me away from the actual end goal. It was more making me paranoia and not making me feel as if I was able to achieve. It was making me feel as if I was on top of the world for maybe 30 minutes. Had the munchies, and then boy.
Well, we praise God. You've come a long way. I mean, let's not underestimate the journey. We can't just say, oh yeah, I decided to give my life to Christ in 2013 or 2011, whenever it was, and then that was it. It was smooth sailing, because it really is a journey, and perfection is not obtained overnight, and we still don't have it, but we're work in progress.
Yes, yeah, most definitely.
And that's what people need to understand.
Yeah.
Though she made that decision in 2013, mate.
Yeah, it's not smooth sailing. I mean, even now I'm still learning. Even now, the fact that I have a new partner, which I'll come on to that later, I'm sure Raquel would address that. But I'm still learning. I'm still learning about myself. I'm still learning about how I can enhance myself. And also not just to benefit myself, but to benefit what I want to do long term. I do have a story to tell, and you know, people do need to hear this story in order for them to actually feel like, you know what, I can make it and I can achieve, and you know, I can use Roslyn as an example, but you know, the test can actually be a testimony. It doesn't have to just be.
Amen.
Yeah, so.
Sister, I feel you, and I feel your story, and it's one that always inspires me. Like I said, the girl that started with us in like 2013 to what you are now is a complete change.
Amen.
It's been 3 years, and you know, we fall, but we get back up.
That's right.
And like you said, the sisterhood, you know, the group really encourage us to just keep pushing, because you do get to a point where it's like,
I'm defeated.
I can't do this anymore. I keep falling. I'm not good enough. You know, I just keep doing the same mistakes and getting it wrong over and over again. But you know, the support system really
definitely
helps.
Definitely.
Yeah, look at you now, girl.
Thank you so much for locking into this episode of Hello Sisters TV. Now, we've heard all about Roslyn's journey into identifying herself in Christ, but that's far from the end of the story. So stay locked in for part 2, where we get to hear all about the beginnings of Roslyn's relationship with her fiancé.